Hello, this is my two unknowns from experiment C. The first one is unknown number 161. The first thing I noticed is that it is not aromatic because there is nothing strong around 1600, just like here. And there are no squiggly bits from 18,000 to 200 up here. Now, the next thing I noticed is there are no triple bonds because there's nothing around 2200 that would indicate it. The next one that I determined was that there is an amine compound in there somewhere because there are pretty strong peaks between 3300 and 3500. My two peaks are 3300 and 3364, and the two peaks indicate two hydrogens, so I'm looking for an NH2 connected to my carbon structure. This is also supported by a possible carbon-nitrogen peak at around 1370. The two possible structures I got from this were the 1-butylamine and butanamide. I decided to go and check for the oxygen double bond, and the only possible carbon to oxygen double bond peak would have been the one at 1666. However, the only thing that corresponds to that would have been an amide. However, an amide requires peaks at 3180 to 33,000, 1,000 to 1350, and 1640 to 1700, which not all of that is present here. So, with that in mind, I ruled out the presence of any oxygen, and I settled on the compound being this left one right here, which is 1-butylamine. For my next compound, unknown 180, again, I started looking for the presence of an aromatic ring. So I noted a strong peak around 1600 and the dips between 1800 to 2000. So from this, I was able to conclude that it is an aromatic molecule. Next, I looked again for triple bonds around 2200, nothing there. So there are no triple bonds in it. Next, from the NMR, I determined that my aromatic molecule will have ortho substituents because the splitting pattern between 7 and 8 shows 2, 3, 2, 3, which corresponds to the ortho pattern on NMRs. Next on the NMR, I noticed a very strong peak around 11. My first thought was that it was carboxylic acid. So I asked the instructor, she said that this peak is actually phenol, which means that there is an alcohol attached to my aromatic ring. So then I went back, to here to try and figure out more functional groups. And I noticed that it is very likely that there is an ester on it, as there is plenty of peaks between 900 and 1300, very strong peaks. That could be the carbon-oxygen single bond of the ester. And between 1735 and 1750, there's this big peak. which could be the carbon-oxygen double bond. So it satisfies both of the criteria to have an ester as part of the molecule. From there, I went to the possible list of structures and narrowed it down to first all aromatic structures, then all the ortho structures, also structures with no triple bonds, and then I looked for things that could have an ester and a OH on it, and this one was the only possibility that had not only an ortho substituted, but also had an OH and then the ester filled in up top perfectly. And this molecule is O-ester phenol. So that is my second molecule.